The city is silent. Not that peaceful midnight silence, but the wrong kind of silence, where there should be the constant hum of civilization functioning. You pick up your cell phone and see that most useless screen in the world. No signal, no Wi-Fi, nothing. You tap the messaging icon as if that's going to solve anything. Nothing. Your stomach tightens because you just remembered that your family is on the other side of town and you have no idea if they're okay. No cell towers, no internet, no landline, you're as isolated as someone in 1700. The difference is you didn't learn to live like that. But here's the truth nobody told you. Communication doesn't depend on satellites or fiber optics. It depends on electromagnetic waves traveling through the air, and those waves don't need any phone company to exist. What you need is a real radio, not this internet thing they call communication. While everyone is staring at black screens trying to understand why WhatsApp won't load, you'll be establishing contact with people miles away. Let's get straight to what matters. First method, get a dual-band amateur radio and learn to use it before you need it. I'm talking about a Baofeng UV5R or similar, something that costs less than $50 and works on VHF and UHF. These frequencies have a range of 3 to 10 miles in urban areas, 30 or more in open fields with direct line of sight. You program the emergency channel frequencies, local ham radio operators, public service frequencies that are open. Without this programmed in advance, you'll be twisting that little knob while the situation gets worse. The physics is simple. VHF radio waves travel in relatively straight lines, pass through some walls, bounce off buildings. It's not magic, it's the electromagnetic spectrum working like it always has. But the radio alone is a useless piece of plastic if you don't know the protocol. When you press that red button to talk, it's not time to tell your life story. You identify yourself, report your location, say what you need, listen to the response, confirm, and sign off. Every second you occupy the frequency is a second that someone with a real emergency can't use. The standard is, this is your call sign or name. I'm at neighborhood street. Need information about specific situation. Anyone listening? You wait 3 seconds, repeat once if nobody responds, then change frequency. Sound like military protocol? That's because it works. Chaotic communication is failed communication. Don't have a Baofeng? No problem. Any common FM receiver radio works for listening, and listening is already half the battle. You'll want to know if there are safe zones, where they're distributing water, if the main streets are blocked. That battery radio your grandmother had in the kitchen is worth more than your $3,000 iPhone when infrastructure falls. Tune into community radio frequencies, local stations that usually have generators, ham radio frequencies on FM. You won't be able to respond, but you'll know what's happening beyond your block. Information is survival, and misinformation kills faster than hunger in the first 72 hours. Now comes the method that separates those who are prepared from those who are just playing. Set up a local network with FRS walkie-talkies or PMR radios. Those little toy devices they sell at department stores have an official range of 2 to 3 miles. But in urban practice, you'll get about a third to half a mile. Enough? Depends on your network. If you have 3 neighbors with radios programmed on the same channel, you form a communication mesh in the block. One of you sees something important 2 streets ahead, transmits to the group. Everyone knows simultaneously. This is called community surveillance network, and it's exactly how communities survived before the digital age. The advantage of these cheap radios is they run on IA batteries, which you can stockpile or even generate power for with portable solar panels. Let's talk about something more permanent. Improvised external antenna to increase your range. Your Baofeng came with that ridiculous rubber antenna that barely reaches the end of the street. You need a dipole or ground plane antenna connected to the radio through a coaxial cable. You can make a dipole antenna with 2 pieces of rigid copper wire 5 feet each, connected in an inverted V, tied to a pole or high window. The signal gain can triple your range, turning 3 miles into 9. It's basic physics. Larger antenna, more signal capture area, better transmission and reception. Look like ghetto rigging? Yes, and it works better than the original equipment because height and size matter more than pretty design. If you're thinking about long-distance communication, we're talking about HF, high frequency, the type of radio that reaches continents through the ionosphere. But let's be realistic. Decent HF equipment costs $3,000 to $10,000. Needs a ham radio license to operate legally and requires technical knowledge you won't learn in a YouTube video. What you can do is have a shortwave receiver to listen to international broadcasts. When the situation is so bad that even local stations have fallen, you can still tune into BBC, Voice of America, Radio Havana. They broadcast on multiple frequencies exactly for scenarios like this. You won't be able to respond, but you'll know if the collapse is local or global, if help is coming, or if it's time to activate the more drastic Plan B. Here's the trick nobody talks about. Pre-establish codes with your family. Before any crisis, you sit down with the people who matter and create simple coded messages. All blue means everyone's safe at home. Red sky means evacuate to secondary meeting point. Dark night means don't try to come back, situation too dangerous. When you can only transmit 10 seconds on a congested frequency, you can't explain the whole situation. You drop the code, the person on the other end understands immediately, end of transmission. Military systems have used this for a century because it works. Petty to seem like a B-movie spy? Maybe. Effective when seconds save lives? Absolutely. Now the technical part that many people ignore. Power management for your equipment. Your Baofeng runs on a 1600 mAh rechargeable battery, which lasts 8 to 12 hours in moderate use. When that battery dies and there's no electricity to recharge, you have 3 options. Have extra charged batteries, have a USB solar charger with adapter, or have a case that accepts normal AA batteries. The third option is the most reliable long-term because batteries you can exchange, buy, even improvise if you have basic chemistry knowledge. Radio without power is decoration, so you always calculate how many hours of transmission per day do you really need. Probably no more than 30 minutes divided into short bursts. The rest of the time you leave it in low consumption monitor mode, listening without transmitting. Method few consider physical messenger network. Sound medieval? Yes, because it worked for millennia before electricity was invented. You establish checkpoint locations at known places, specific times. 9 in the morning at the blue post on the corner, 3 in the afternoon at the abandoned grocery store. Someone from your network passes by, leaves a note marked with chalk, a symbol on the wall, whatever system you agreed on. The message travels person to person until it reaches the recipient. Is it slow? Yes. Is it infrastructure failure proof? Completely. When every electronic system fails, you still have legs, bicycles, messages written on paper. The French resistance took down Nazis using little notes, so don't tell me it doesn't work. Let's talk about transmission security, because when you're transmitting on open frequencies, anyone can listen. And I mean anyone. Curious neighbors, organized looters, authorities you might not want to alert about your resources. Never, ever transmit detailed information about what you have stockpiled, how many people are in your house, if anyone is injured or vulnerable. You use vague language. Situation stable here instead of I have 50 gallons of water and 3 injured people. Use code names for locations. Point Alpha is your house. Point Bravo is your brother's house. GPS coordinates then, forget it. Is it paranoia? Not when you understand that open communication is vulnerable communication. Here's something that can save lives. Signal mirror for long-distance visual communication during the day. A simple pocket mirror, one of those $5 ones, can reflect sunlight for over 10 miles in ideal conditions. 3 quick flashes, pause, 3 quick flashes, pause. 3 quick flashes is universal SOS. You aim the reflection in the direction where you know someone is watching. Repeat the pattern. It's primitive, it's obvious, and that's exactly why it works. Doesn't depend on battery. Doesn't depend on signal. Depends only on the sun and someone paying attention. At night, a strong flashlight serves the same purpose. Basic Morse code, 3 dots, 3 dashes, 3 dots, anyone recognizes as a call for help. Backup method when everything else fails. Smoke signals and bonfires. Before you laugh, consider that fire signaling systems were used by civilizations worldwide for thousands of years because you can see smoke from miles away. A daytime fire with green material creating dense smoke or clear fire at night, both visible from far away. You add plastic or rubber for black smoke, green leaves for white smoke. Different patterns mean different messages in your pre-established system. 1 constant column of smoke. All good. 2 columns. Need help. 3 columns. Serious emergency. Sound like something from a Western movie? Yes, because cowboys weren't idiots, they used what worked. If you have access to satellite internet or are prepared to invest heavily, satellite communication devices like Garmin InReach or Iridium are the definitive solution. These devices connect directly to satellites in orbit, completely bypassing all ground infrastructure. You can send text messages anywhere on the planet as long as they're as a view of the sky. The problem? They cost $1,500 to $3,000 for the device, plus monthly subscription of $100 to $300. But when you're truly isolated, when there are no towers, no internet, nothing, and you need to call for rescue or notify someone 1,000 miles away, these devices are the difference between being found and disappearing. Not for everyone, but if you can afford it, it's the most reliable plan A that exists. Now the question of technical knowledge. You need to practice before the crisis. Buying a radio and leaving it in the drawer waiting for the apocalypse is a guarantee of failure. You take that radio out every month, test the battery, check the programmed frequencies, make contact with other ham radio operators in the region. Join preparedness groups that do simulated communication tests. Learn to change the antenna, solve basic problems. Understand when the problem is in the radio or in atmospheric propagation. A radio you know how to use is worth more than 10 expensive radios stored without knowledge. It's like the gym. You don't get strong buying the equipment, you get strong using the equipment. Underestimated method. Scanner radio to monitor emergency and public service frequencies. These devices automatically sweep hundreds of frequencies looking for active transmissions. You program it to monitor fire department, police, ambulance services, all the open frequencies that are legal to listen to. When the situation deteriorates, in real time where the problems are, which streets to avoid, where there's resource distribution. A decent scanner costs $300 to $1,000, and the amount of situational intelligence it provides is incomparable. You're not guessing what's happening out there, you're listening to the emergency responders themselves reporting. This is called informational advantage. And there's more. Learn the NATO phonetic alphabet to spell names and locations clearly. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, from the movies. When transmission is bad with static and interference. You can't understand Maple Street, but you can understand Mike Alpha Papa Lima Echo. Sound like military affectation? It's protocol that ensures critical messages aren't misinterpreted. One wrong letter in a medication name can kill someone. One wrong letter in an address can send help to the wrong place. You learn the 26 codes, train until it comes automatically, and use when clarity is literally a matter of life or death. Last method, and perhaps the most important. Establish a physical meeting point in case all electronic communication fails. A known location, easy to access, with multiple arrival routes. Could be a specific square, a bridge, an abandoned building you all know. The protocol is simple. If X days pass without contact, everyone goes to the meeting point at predetermined times. Noon on the 3rd day, 6 in the evening on the 5th day, 9 in the morning on the 7th. You show up, wait 30 minutes, leave an agreed mark if you need to leave, come back at the next time. It's the final plan when technology completely fails. Complex systems fail in complex ways, but a meeting scheduled at a physical location is too simple to fail. You now have 7 layers of communication: two-way radio, receiver radio, local walkie-talkie network, visual communication, physical messengers, satellite devices, and physical meeting point. Each works in different situations. Each has different limitations. The secret isn't having all of them. It's having the ones that make sense for your reality and knowing how to use each one proficiently. Most people will be staring at dead screens, panicking because they've lost contact with everything and everyone. You'll be in contact, receiving information, coordinating actions, keeping your network safe and informed. Not because you have magic technology, but because you understood that communication is a skill, not an app. And skills work when apps stop working. Claude uma ia e pod cometer erros. Por favor, verifique as respostas.